A village boy freed wolves from their cages without knowing what the predators would do afterwards.
But before we start, please make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss an upload from us. Also, leave a like right now.
Bulgaria is currently one of the most quickly rising and emerging countries of Eastern Europe. However, this wasn't always this way, and 20th century Bulgaria was still a harsh place to live. Many lived in villages and started raising farm animals to maintain their livelihoods and eat. Others simply went directly into the farming profession to survive. However, in a particular town, people have started noticing missing livestock. It turns out that the town in the middle of a huge forest was susceptible to constant wolf attacks. Hunters did their best to reduce the number of predators. They set traps and shot the animals, but the only thing they were looking for was food, just like the people. One day, an idea happened upon the hunters. They stopped coming back with killed wolves all the time. Though the locals first disagreed and needed more wolves to be hunted, everything settled down. After a few months of the hunters killing a lot less wolves and hunting game as normal, things went back to their regular affairs. Besides hunting, though, the men came up with the idea of organizing a zoo or some sort of captive wolf circus. After a hunt out for some regular game, a group managed to capture 2 of the fierce predators alive and bring them back into town. They put them in a cage so the locals could see them. No one really sympathized with the animals who terrorized them for so long, but amongst the crowd was a little boy who had seen the hunters come back with wolves his entire life. Some alive, some dead, and even at his age he felt what they were doing was wrong. He felt sorry for the animals and cried for them. It was hard to look at that. When he discovered that even more wolves were brought in alive to the cages, he decided he'd free them at any cost. He had to make a plan for it, however. After lunch at his family's house one day, he decided not to eat the bread, taking it back to his room to finish later, as he told his parents. He wanted to take some meat, but if he didn't eat that, his parents would likely suspect something was wrong. Later, he headed out towards where the wolves were being kept, making sure not to be seen by anyone. The boy reached the place, and as he came up to the fence, he saw the wolves huddled up inside their cages just 5 meters away. The little young boy saw the large wolves were being kept in a tiny closed space. He broke the bread into pieces and threw it to them. They hungrily devoured the small ration, and it was clear they hadn't eaten in a while. Some were left hungrier than others, but there was no time to waste. Now he had to figure out how to free them. He had to be careful in case someone did spot him. He realized that there was someone keeping watch over the wolves. The owner of the lot would show his face from time to time, but by far not always. Next to the lot where the wolves were kept, there was the forest. It would be easy for the wolves to escape there, but the problem was the fence. He had no way to get through. He left that day not yet knowing how to help the wolves. There was the owner's dog too. He might bark and alert people. The boy returned home, sad because he couldn't free the wolves. However, he was convinced that the wolves should be returned to the forest. Over the course of the following days, the boy periodically visited the poor wolves, feeding them some of the leftovers and bread that he didn't eat at lunch. And eventually, finally, he found a way. By now, the wolves recognized the boy and perked up, wagging their tails. They weren't just happy with the food, but because there was a human being in the town that cared for them. Of course, this was risky for anyone to do in the first place. What if the wolves immediately attacked him as he released them? And the boy was acting alone. He didn't tell anyone of his plans. When the day finally came, he was prepared. His plan was rehearsed and ready. His father had some tools stored in the barn house. He didn't use them a lot since his work didn't need it, and he worked mostly in town. That day, the boy took the tools. He knew that the hunters would be out until dusk, and the owner had left at town for a meeting. That day, there was only his dog watching the whole lot. The boy went around and opened a small hole in the fence just large enough for him and the wolves to pass through. Then he went over and broke the rusted lock on the lot's gate. Most surprisingly, the guard dog was completely silent. As he got closer to the cages, the wolves perked up and started pacing about, tails silently wagging. Finally, the wolves all filed out and did something incredible. The wolves all gathered in front of him, and the seemingly largest one, the alpha, stepped forward and licked the boy's face. Then all the wolves ran through the hole he'd opened and out into the forest. They quickly disappeared, and the boy hurried home. The tools were returned to their places and his parents didn't suspect a thing. Later in the evening, the owner raised the alarm that the wolves had escaped. But who did it? People wondered who would free the terrifyingly dangerous animals. No one could survive the encounter even if they helped them out of their cages. The boy's parents made sure to warn him about the wolves that evening. After that, the wolves stayed well away, hunting and eating in their own new territories, where there are still wolf packs roaming peacefully to this day. Only this boy knew what had happened, confessing to a local radio station decades later. Taking place in the town of Delica in the Lamont region in the 1980s, the boy, now a man, was lauded as a hero by many, conservationists and hunters alike. This story is without a doubt incredible. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our latest uploads.